some more Real2Real. Today I am joined back here with Caleb, also known as Otaku Massacre, and also here with Angel, also known as Jordan.
Hi.
Now, today we've kind of I know it's a bit more of a spur of the moment thing, and I'm trying to get more episodes out to people, to you guys, so we can get more content for the live stream, for the podcast, so you guys can be able to follow along a bit more. But today, really, we're just going to be talking about how more like school systems, to be honest, and like bullying in schools and everything like that.
So hardcore.
And they don't, and that's a
Um,
really sad thing. Is that a lot of kids nowadays go through so much depression because of school systems and because of how everything is happening in life that they don't really have a lot of time to themselves to look back at everything and see the bigger picture of what's going on.
yeah,
Like,
I'm sorry.
now I was both the bully and being bullied.
think, I think everybody's experienced maybe a little bit of both on occasion, depending on situations.
Yeah, but it was a bit worse with me because I actually, like I said, I was the bully, and I hate admitting to that, but I was.
I'm a
And
major bully to my youngest sister, I will be honest. Kinda hate that, but was not a great person.
and growing up with all of it really set kind of a standard for a lot of my life. I don't want to say it like that because it sounds really egotistical, but I ended up fixing up my life to a point where I was happy, where I was comfortable. I felt comfortable in my own skin, felt comfortable in just everyday stuff, everyday activities. And you don't really see a lot of people think that way anymore. It's always, you see a lot of people always do the bad and everything, and no one looks at life the way that we do anymore.
Mm,
Because they get themselves so down in a rut that they can't pull themselves back out.
it's really hard, even to seek out help.
That's the reason why I didn't find help for a long time, because one, I was scared to because I didn't know what anyone else was gonna think, and two, it's just I never showed myself to really want to get the help when I desperately
Mm,
did need it, especially with me having depression and everything. It was very hard. And I'm not
yeah,
saying that I'm done with depression, like that. It's still going through my life, no matter how hard that I've like shown to like be happy and everything. Like, it's still there. It's just a
did you
lot
ever
better
find
than what it
help?
was. To be honest, not really.
It took me 12 years to actually go out and seek a therapist.
I'm still not okay.
So,
But for some people, therapy doesn't help. For me, it
yeah,
didn't, at least. And a lot of school counselors and everything will actually look at it saying, "Oh, it will help. You're just not looking hard enough," or anything like that. Which
you're
is,
not giving it a chance. That's what one of my therapists said. Or at
yeah,
least
like,
my,
it's not a fact. It's not the fact of the matter that it's we're not giving it that chance. It's just the fact of the matter that it really doesn't fully help. Exactly. Like, you're
Yeah.
not to give, like, people don't give themselves the benefit of the doubt enough. But in reality, you can actually do good enough to where you're actually smart, and everyone is shown to be smart at times. It's just how you go about your day to really show that off. But yeah, going back to the whole school thing, school systems aren't like what they used to be. Like, back when I was and this is going from personal experience, back when I was in elementary school, it's changed so much over the course of what, 14, 15 years? And that's weird to say that it's changed that much in just so little, in so much time. But it doesn't, then again, that's not a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's gotten, the school systems have gotten to a point where it feels they're trying to control you, which they can and can't. It's a weird topic to get onto with this because it's all a matter of perspective and just how people think for this topic. For me personally, the way I think about it is that school systems never really have helped me enough. I I was one of those kids that got put into alternative learning programs to where I didn't, because I didn't show their to get to their status quo,
Yeah.
and that's tough. But
It's really
it's,
difficult to get to where they're trying to push you sometimes, especially
yeah,
when you're not in the right mindset.
and especially with having ADHD, depression, anxiety, any of those kind of mental illnesses, it's hard.
Yeah.
And people look at you like you're an outcast.
And it's
And
okay to be different, and a lot of kids don't understand that, like, nobody explains to them that it's okay to not be like everyone else. It's okay to be sad sometimes. It's okay to feel the way you feel. It's just not okay to listen to the people who aren't helping
exactly. And that's, again, that's the whole point of this podcast, is to show that there are people who care, even if it's just random people from the internet. We
you.
all are trying to do something for someone else, just trying to show everyone else that we care enough to actually get to show that there's actually something worth living out there for.
Yeah. It seems impossible for some people, and they're just pushing through like it's nothing. And I just don't know how they do it.
Now
See, for
I've
me, therapy did help. And I know it's not a good thing for everyone, but it was pretty helpful for me. And I feel like it was because I was like, you know what, I'm finally ready to find help.
Therapy never helped me.
Yeah.
I went through it for so long and I attempted so much. And I know it's weird to hear me laugh about that, chat, or, but like, I never cared about myself. I mean, I've gotten to a point where I actually love myself at points, but I don't get to a point where it's all like that. I've never felt comfortable in my own skin sometimes, where I'm just going through the motions and just trying to make it through the day. And that's a bad way to look at things. Yeah. 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 I'm still kind of that way because I actually, me myself, I actually am put on Zoloft, prescribed by my doctor, to actually try and even out my anxiety, to even out a tiny bit of my depression, and it does help. But I wish it would do a bit more, like actually get rid of it. But you can't get rid of something like that, not just overnight. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really difficult to seek out help, even when you're ready for it, or even if that is what you're looking for. Especially with my family, when I actually decided to seek out help and find therapy, my entire family was like, "Yeah, well, we all have problems, and we never looked for help." And I was like, "Wow, okay, that's very helpful."
Yeah. And
Yeah,
yeah, it's a controlling mindset that people have put into one's brain to make them feel like that they're not what they are saying they are.
yeah,
And that's what I feel like school systems have gotten to a point where they're thinking that they're able to control how a student may feel, act, or maybe even think,
yeah.
which,
And another big thing is that depression isn't just someone who just feels sad. It's feeling unmotivated and just exhausted all the time. Yeah. Yeah. And it sucks.
I hear that from everyone.
Yeah, take full responsibility for what you created. I don't know. I remember having a conversation before I went out to dinner with my grandmother, and I have a sticker on the back of my car that just kind of says sad girl on it. And she looks at me and she goes, "You're not sad." And I was like, "What? I don't have to be this depressed, I don't have to look depressed to be depressed." Because a lot of people, even though they're depressed, they can put on the biggest, fakest smile and look like the happiest person in the world and be the most exhausted, just completely drained human being you've ever met. And you wouldn't even
And
know.
that's what I feel like a lot of people at the high school didn't know about me.
Yeah.
I
Because it's
I
easy to
faked
just
everything. Like
miss
I
it.
faked being happy for so long to a point where I actually believed that I was, and then I come home and everything was just no. It was empty. I was voidless. Yeah, yeah. Nobody should have to, but everyone does.
Yeah. It hits everybody, and it hits everybody differently, too. I wish it was
And
easier for a lot of adults to understand that it's just not easy. No, you're fine. Yeah. And I can understand why they passed that law, but at the same time, women who, I mean,
I
a lot
my
of
whole thought
them,
on that is that it should be yes, it shouldn't be done, but it should be done under certain circumstances, not just done away with
yeah,
entirely.
yeah, like girls who've been raped or incestual things like that, I can completely understand why it should be allowed.
But
But
you
just
shouldn't
going
do it.
around and having sex for the fun of it, just going to get an abortion because, oh, I made a mistake.
Then that's on you. That you
Yeah.
should.
And I wish schools like would, show
Look at
more
it a bit
care
more.
in situations like that too, as well. Just teach them more important things to know in their lives. That's always a good thing. And it's really nice that they have that available at your school.
Yeah. Yeah. And we had those types of
Parenting
classes before.
was a class that we had in our school. But it wasn't a required class. And I feel like classes like that, as well as taxes and things that are more important, that are more centered to your life and what you'll have to do after you leave the school, should be more important to those schools to be taught, you know?
And it should. But going back to what I was saying about school systems and everything being the way they are, you can't really just say that you can. Everyone can wish what they want, yes. But is that going to happen off of just listening to what to one person is going to say or some people are going to say? The only way that that would happen is if everyone bands together and not just a small group of people. In order for something like that to happen, everyone's going to need to band together in order for that actually to come out in front, in full.
Yeah. Make an effort to at least do something to help. And even if it was an accident, it's still your accident.
And that's why I feel bad for children. There are no accidents. There
There's
are
no
no
such thing as
mistakes.
mistakes, there's
Only
only
happy little
happy
accidents.
accidents. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Now,
Yeah. Yeah, people do that in general, and I honestly don't understand why they don't respect others, nor do they respect themselves in those situations.
And that brings me to a point where I've actually, because I actually feel bad for people that do that. I feel like it's childish, and at some points it really is, but you can't really stop people from thinking how they will. And I wish people would understand that they're screwing around with someone else's life if they don't know what they're doing or don't understand how they're feeling. That they're screwing around with another person's life, another person's feelings. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Your depiction of what happened to you.
Which is why I feel bad in this situation, in those kind of situations. I feel bad for those children because I've been through it where my father, my biological father, left before I was born, and I never got to meet him, never got to see him. I've thought about wanting to go and meet him and see where his thought processing was about it all. But to be honest, I don't really need his input. I've went 20 years without knowing who he is, without knowing anything about him. Why do I need to worry about it now?
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing to look at it that way, but when it comes down to it, mhm, yeah, we're all
Yeah.
gonna
And it's
question
very
things.
normal to do that.
again, that's the reason why I felt bad for so many people. Because they've had to live through the same feeling, the same pain that I have. And that's the reason why I want something like this to actually come to light, because it's ridiculous. It's gotten to a point where it's happening so frequently in the world that it shouldn't.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate for people that go through that. And it's so common now.
Which is why I want to make a difference in the world, to show that people can actually be good, to understand that there's more to it than just what you can see. And that's why I've shown so many people that streaming and stuff is a lot different nowadays than what it used to be.
Yeah.
Streaming just used to be, oh, someone's streaming, they're not gonna get a real job, they're not doing anything with their life. When in reality, that's not fully true.
Yeah.
It Yeah, you were trying to make a exactly.
Who their parents are gonna be. Yeah. Difficult or complicated? It's hard not to feel hurt,
And
especially when and a big thing that I thought about whenever that would happen is Did I not reach out enough? Was it my fault?
And I,
Could I have done something? Yeah. And it's really difficult to go back because, I mean,
and it really
and once you
is.
get into a mindset that, oh, this was my fault, it's hard to go back. Even if people are around you are trying their best to convince you this wasn't your fault, this was all, this was their decision, it's hard to go back and say it wasn't your fault. They're still reminded that their friend is gone.
And that's what hurt a lot for me when I witnessed. Well, I didn't witness it, but when I went through, a couple of my friends ended up going that way. I felt like that I couldn't help them. I felt helpless in the world, and it took me so long just to be able to realize who I actually was. Came to a point where I actually thought that I was the helper, that I was the buffer between people, that I was put here to help. But sadly, I got to a point where I couldn't do much more, and that's what really upset me about it all. That I tried, and to no avail.
Nobody tells you that these things are going to happen to you. Nobody prepares you for this because nobody wants you to go through that. They don't want you to feel so alone. Yeah, and I felt like that as well. But if they really care about you, if there's somebody in your life that really cares about you, they don't want that for you.
And that's what I was mentioning in one of my earlier videos about fake friends. Get rid of those fake friends. You don't deserve
And
them, they don't deserve you.
they
Get
do
them out
nothing
of
but
your
ruin.
lives.
And the people who really care about you, they'll hear that rumor and they'll be like, that's not true. I know my best friend.
And
I
I've
know
witnessed
that's
that.
not true.
Even in the high school, and Jordan, you know about this. I There was so many rumors about everyone that went around, and I was the
Yeah.
one that actually stood up for a lot of the people that it was, and I knew because I knew a lot of people there, and I knew that none of it was true. I knew that none of those rumors were going to be true. There was one that did end up being true, and I tried my best to defend that it wasn't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the reason why I didn't really have a lot of friends. I end up losing a lot of them because of stupid stuff, stupid shit that ended up happening between a couple of us, and either that or we all drifted apart away from each other, and
Yeah.
it became sad to where it really made me want to think: is it because of something I did? Was it because of something I said?
And
And
feeling
I
that you're at fault for things that you're just not at fault for, it's hard to change your mindset and be like, no, it's not my fault. I know it's not.
But after so long of thinking that it was, I started to think, what if it wasn't? And that's what it became to, was in a what if story. And those what if stories are very hard to think about because you're still gonna think that, oh, it was my fault, but you're still thinking something else, and that's what gets your head out of those clouds to think you're not the cause.
Yeah.
And
Getting to that point
eventually
is
you'll
super
live with it.
difficult.
You can't change it because if you try, you're not gonna be able to because it's already happened. And I know I keep going back to where it's about. I know we all are actually going to where it's just about us, but we've all been through a lot. Even just been living here on Earth for Caleb's 17 years, uh, Jordan here 19 years, about almost 20. Same thing with me. Uh, we've all been through a shit ton in just the short amount of time that we've lived here on Earth.
Yes.
I started doing it by the age of 5,
I had
and
thoughts, but I had never really truly attempted
I attempted
because
about
I
300
knew I
times.
had people in my life. And a lot of people, unfortunately, do not have the pleasure of knowing good enough people in their lives.
There was
And that's the saddest
times,
part.
yeah, and there was times where I actually tried to go to my mom and explain. but I was scared to do so because of what's gone on. I was always. I wouldn't say that I was the quiet kid, the stereotypical quiet kid, no. But I was quiet for a lot through my school years. I
Yeah.
showed up, did what I needed to get done, and went on. Never really talked to anyone about what went through in my personal life because the fact of the matter is, truly nobody actually cares, and that's the sad part about it is that nobody cares,
And the hard part for some people is for them to understand that no one really truly wants to know. And some people just ask out of pity.
and that's not what life should be about. Now, I when I ask someone about it, I'm truly wanting to know. I'm genuinely wanting to know what's up. But like, if they seem any different than what they have, I'm truly wanting to know like what is up. Like, what's wrong? Are you feeling okay?
Yeah.
And hearing like them say it doesn't matter kind of hurts hearing that because
Yeah.
you've gone so long knowing this person, and then the next after hearing that they're not okay, or you have the inkling that they're not okay, and then they're gone, and that's what hurt me a lot. Make a difference.
Even if you don't know them. sending flowers.
Yeah.
The bad guy. No, it's okay.
Yeah, and I understand that.
And it's hard to let go of those things. Even though
Especially,
that is the best thing for you, it's hard.
and that brings into a whole nother topic about
Yeah.
and that also brings me into a topic of again, relationships. I know we talked about that in the last podcast, but if you're having a bad experience with a an ex and you can't let go, you have to make peace with that.
Mhm.
That took me years to understand that, and even now it's still kind of hard for me to at some points. It's it gets really hard to think about that. I've learned to deal with them the best that I can, but I still get there, and it
Mm-mm.
never will.
Yeah.
And like I said, with it took me years to be able to understand how to make peace with situations like that. And it never will get easier. It never will. But you just gotta take those moments in stride and live to your best life that you can.
Yeah.
Living with regrets, living with depression. Or I shouldn't say depression, more like living with those regrets and thoughts that you lost someone, lost a lover, lost a brother or sister due to suicidal tendencies, or even just lost a lover in general, as in like they fell out of love with you. It's still gonna be hard on the brain, and it's never gonna get easier until you can make peace with that in your head. And I know I may look, and I know I've said this a lot, But I may look like I know what I'm doing. I may look like I know how my life is going. I truly still don't know yet. And that's kind of the point where everyone gets to, is that they don't know what they're going to be doing. They don't know what they're going through. And that's hard to see other people as. Because you get to a point where you're seeing so many people at one point that you forget who you are.
Yeah.
And when you forget who you are, it gets hard to distinguish. It can lead you to a point where it's hard to distinguish facial features from someone to another person. It can get hard to distinguish one person from another just by how they're talking, just how they're thinking. And it could be someone that you truly know and truly remembered for years, but you still don't actually know them because you forgot so long ago. And that's happened, I'm pretty sure, to all three of us here. I know for a fact it's happened to me where I felt like I couldn't do much of anything, and it came after not that long ago, after and one of my exes, when we split. I I was laying down every night and I cried because I couldn't get the thought of it out of my head. I wanted it to work out, but in a way, I'm glad it didn't. And I learned a lot through just one relationship that had me actually feeling loved. That I learned to love myself again. I learned to be who I am and not who I was. Learn to live with so much more. And that's the best thing that you can do for yourself, is to those learn that. Even if it's small, you should always try and learn to do something like that, so you're not going to get stuck in that rut to where you're just going day by day, to where you're just living your life mindlessly controlled by what? Just your brain saying that you should be going or that you shouldn't. You need to have your own purpose, and that's what everyone is searching for in life. And it doesn't get easy to find it. It never will. And that's a huge point to come across. Is that this life is hard. This world is hard. And it is.
hard to tell your future family about love.
Can one quick thing? Could you back away from the mic? Sorry, you're breathing into the mic. Sorry. But yeah, it's really hard to forget about someone and then come back and then think, oh, I remember them without it bringing a tear to your eye. Because I can go back and think about all the exes that I've been with that I truly did care for, and seeing what they'd done to hurt me, I've and I know again a lot of this podcast today is just about us,
Personal experiences.
but that's the best way for others to really learn. And I've been through I've I've dated girls that have cheated on me. I've dated girls that's abused me. I've dated women that just used me that's just used me as a rebound guy. And that hurts. It does. But after so much of that abuse, that neglect, that anger that you've gone through, it can really change your perspective on life.
A lot
It'll
of the
get
time, it really just deflates your how you look at yourself and how you just your self-esteem, everything about you is destroyed when people do things like that to you. And sometimes you also regain your self-respect when they are gone.
and that's where a lot of my depression has came from. It
Yeah.
sparked from being in relationships where I was not cared for. Even
Mhm.
though I cared for the other person, I was never cared for in those relationships.
And unfortunately, it's majorly common to feel so unimportant in a relationship.
And going along with that, again, leads into more it can lead to academic failure because
Mhm.
you're thinking about it so much. And granted, I never failed in school. I get back in elementary school, I actually ended up getting C's and D's, but then I started raising them from C's and D's to A's and B's. Started to feel like my schoolwork was a lot more important, and then by the end of it, I started to dwindle. And granted, I passed school with a 3.8 GPA. That last my final year of high school, my senior year, was the hardest one for me. And granted, it was mainly because of the whole COVID situation,
Mm.
which is another topic for another podcast.
Yeah,
But
very difficult for everyone, I'm sure.
it impacts everyone's lives, and not just the people around you, the people that are far from you, the people that are close to you but still live in other states, live in other countries. Like, as you guys know from my other streams, my other podcast, or not my other podcast, my other streams, my other channels, and everything, these guys that I play with every day online, they're from Tennessee, they're from Connecticut, California, Florida, all over the US. There are some people in Canada that I play with, and all these guys are near and dear to my heart that I treat them as family anymore. And it was hard for everyone. It wasn't just hard for watching it go by like this. It was hard for everyone. And I feel truly bad trying to say that I I couldn't do more. I've put so much effort into making other people happy, to make other people feel better about themselves, that I slowly forgot about who I was and how I feel.
And being a people pleaser is truly a very draining kind of thing that a lot of people go through.
And I still am going through it because
Yeah.
I still don't like how I feel. But I'm not going to change it because I can't. I don't know how.
I'd rather my friends be happier than myself.
And that's the reason why when my friends, like Jordan, I've always tried to make people feel better. I've tried to put them before me. And this also comes back down to children. It, your own children matter more than yourself.
Mm.
And that's something that I've always thought about. I've granted I'm not at that stage yet, but I've always wanted to have a kid so I could show them the love that they need, the love that they deserve, compared to what I got as a kid. Granted, yes, I did get love. I was with my mom for the first 5 years of my life, and then
Yeah.
my stepdad came in, and he was there for 13 years, and it got blown away. And this is a
Mm.
hard topic to talk about, especially with all of this stuff just recently coming up. I I found people to help. I found people to help me. I found people that I could help. And it's hard to look at that saying that I just wanted to help people, because sometimes it felt like that I was just using them to help myself, and that's not what I wanted to do. But after
Yeah.
that, it me and them bonded, and that I feel like is kind of why I got together with my ex. Is or my most recent ex, is that I wanted someone to help me feel better.
Yeah.
And it's
Mm.
hard to think that way because I did truly love her.
And really, it is different for everyone and how they seek their help and how they find their help. A lot of people are like, well, just go to therapy, and therapy is not always the answer. Sometimes it's playing video games or finding new hobbies. Sometimes it's finding new and better friends. It's honestly completely different for every single person.
Exactly. And I've now I'm the type of person that's always been shy around a camera. I've always been shy to talk my feelings out just to the internet alone, which sounds weird, but after streaming for so long and just saying screw it, you know what, I'm gonna start doing this because there are some people out there that think that they can't do it. I wanted to make both my channels, my Twitch channel and my YouTube channel, I made them as a way to show people that you can do something, that if as long as you put your mind to it, if you
Mm.
think and believe that you're able to do it, you can do it. And it's a hard thing to look at with some people. And it's a hard thing to look at that with some people, is that they don't understand that they can. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that there are people out there that feel like that they can get somewhere, but they're not wanting to do anything because
Yeah.
they're afraid. And I was like that for years, and I'm still like that. It's the reason why I haven't done much of anything. It's the reason why when you see me on streams, when you see me chilling around and everything, going to places, I'm never wanting to be there. I'm just there because I have to.
Yeah.
And streaming now,
You're okay.
and that's perfectly fine. And going back to looking back at everything, I now see where I went wrong. Is that I never cared for myself. Granted, I still won't, I still don't, but I've learned to accept that, and I learned to live live with myself and love myself for who I am. And especially in relationships, that's the one thing that you're gonna need to have is to be able to love yourself and imagine your life with the person that you're getting with or with the person that you are with, is that you need to love yourself in order for that relationship to actually be good.
And another thing, I know a lot of people who get into relationships and they're getting into relationships for marriage. And I feel like that's a big problem because if you get into a relationship for marriage, you'll tolerate more than you really would naturally. And then the whole relationship will fall apart. I feel that if you really want to get into a relationship and want to be happy, get into the relationship for your happiness, not to find marriage. And if
And
you get married, then I mean, it was meant to be. But I
and
know a lot
that's
of
a
my friends
huge
are
thing.
like, I'm not dating anymore because if I'm gonna date, I'm gonna date for marriage. And I'm like, you're really just making it harder on yourself.
And that's the thing with me here is that I'm not trying to date for marriage. I'm trying to date to be with someone that truly loves me for me, and I want to love them for who they are.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to a point where I feel like it's not going anywhere because either I fuck up or I'm screwing something up in the relationship to have it happen that way. And because I've always been the problem, as that's what I felt like I am, is that I felt like that I was always the problem in the relationship, that I was the one that did something or I didn't do something enough, and that's what hurt me in every relationship I've been in.
And blaming yourself makes it harder as well. But it's almost impossible not to sometimes. You
And
sit there
getting
and think, well, this was so perfect before. I don't know what went wrong. Was it my fault? Did I do it?
and that's where I get to put down myself because all my depression from what I've been able to experience has come from relationships. Yes, some of it has come from more outside things that other than that I can't really get into because of YouTube's TTS would not be safe to talk about. But getting this point out there is that you're able to do so much with your life. You're able to go for whoever you want. You're able to go for whoever you think is able to. And when you put yourself down, it gets to a point where you're not able to actually, you're not looking for the person you wanted. You're looking for a person that you're just that
You felt that you
shows up and
deserved.
shows you love. And that's a problem with, and I know that Jordan, you're a woman and everything,
Mm.
but you understand some of what I'm saying when I say this is that guys have put so much into relationships that when they get dumped or when they get to a point that they're not together anymore with with the person that they were with, they start disorienting the fact between a compliment and someone just being nice.
Yeah. I've actually honestly never heard a man say that in my life, and it's really true because it's really hard for a lot of people. Even women do have the same issue where they just take a compliment and they're like, "Oh, he's flirting with me," and a big time they're not.
And a lot of the
They're just
times,
being nice.
us guys, when we're giving compliments, we're not trying to give them to just flirt most of the times. There are some guys that will do it just to flirt and just to get sex, but that's not why all guys will do it. All guys will compliment someone, even if whether it be a guy, a woman, trans person, anything, anyone, they'll compliment them because there are some guys who truly care. There are some guys who actually want to show those people that there are things in life worth something, that they actually, pardon my language when I say this, but there are actually people out there who give a damn.
Yeah.
And it's sad, especially in today's society, in today's generation, Gen Z now, is that all of us now just don't care. And that's the sad truth. Gen Z has gotten to a point where they're not caring about another person, that this whole cancel culture thing has started, and it's sad to see society, a generation that is supposed to be better, a generation that grew up together, is tearing each other apart.
Yeah.
And I hate seeing that. And like I said, I've been, and this goes back to elementary school kids. They're tearing each other apart. They're tearing each other down, bullying each other to a point where there's even in middle schools that there's school shootings happening, and that really is just horrible. It get When you bully someone, or when you get to that point where you're thinking that, did I do something to them to make them think wrong? You probably did, or you probably didn't. It's all on the person's mind. One thing you say can lead to someone else's demise. And that's where a whole butterfly effect comes in. The butterfly effect was is a thing, and it will be a thing. As much as people say it's not, it is. The butterfly effect is the whole point of a butterfly's wings can flap and create a hurricane later. And that's where today's society is starting to think that we are not creating this, is that we actually have created a society where no one is accepting of another person. And I just want this to be put out there to society, to the people who watch this and or listen to it, and understand people have hearts. People are humans. You're a human. So live like that. Don't live like someone who's just gonna push someone away just for your own personal gain. There are people that deserve to be pushed away, and there's people that deserve to be brought into your life. And I'm not saying this to be an asshole. I'm saying this as a way to get this out there. Is that there are people out there that desperately need help. There's people out there that desperately feel helpless in the world. And that's why me and Caleb really started this podcast, is so those people can step forward and understand that we're trying to help you. And I know this is gonna sound really stupid to say, but trust me when I say this. You are good. You are better than what you think you can do. You are better than anything you put your mind to. You can do this. And it's the sad truth that people can't put that forward and understand that they are good enough.
Mm.
I hate seeing it. I really do. And as Caleb did, I've lost friends due to suicide. I've lost family due to it. I've lost family due to cancer, due to everything, car crashes, and I can't express this enough that it hurts, and it will. But all you're able to do is wish them luck in the afterlife if you believe in it. Wish them luck in what they're going to do next, who they're going to be next if you believe in reincarnation. You can only live for so long and understand the life around you as you live. And that is where I feel like Gen Z doesn't understand. Is that we've put the generations before us. Yes, I am Gen Z, by the way. So is Jordan here, and so is Caleb. That the generations before us have put so much effort into trying to make it better for us, but inevitably they ended up creating a society where us Gen Zs are not able to put forth what we believe. We're still thinking differently. We're still thinking not proper, to the point where we're canceling each other, where we're canceling things that are actually good. Now, going to the whole cancel culture thing is a whole different topic on its own. And I truly believe that it shouldn't be a thing. But with today's society, it's hard to say that we can't have it as a thing when it's already so far into it. And I know I'm taking the spotlight from you two right now,
Mm-hmm.
but all this stuff really needs to be said. Is that all this is the reason why there's school shootings. All this is the reason why there's so much bad in the world right now, is because of bullying, cancel culture. And I'm not wanting to say it is this, but the depression caused by people's anxieties, caused by people's stress from other people. All three of those things causes what our generation has come to. And seeing the world as it is, we've all lived through things. We've all gone through our own paths, and we're all going to take our own paths. But knowing what path you're taking is the best thing that you can do. To realize what path that you're on, to realize that you can actually follow down that path and live with the option and live with the outcome that you're going through, is the only thing that anyone can do.
Alright, I'm gonna get off. Try to get some sleep. Bye, guys.
Bye. And living through this, we all can't do this alone. not with how today's society is. We all need each other. We all need to support each other. And I understand with the whole every community out there, I'm not going to pinpoint every single one, but every community out there needs to be respected unless shown otherwise that they can't be respected. And vice versa. To the people in those communities looking outwards, show people respect until proven that they cannot be respected. I feel so drawn to to this topic alone because I've dealt with so many people coming in to like chats and stuff, talking so much about how their lives feel so awful that they have wanted to end up killing themselves. I'm sorry to say that here on YouTube, but today's society is utter dog shit. And it's upsetting. And I look at this every day and I think, what can I do to help? And the sad truth is, I can't do anything. Because I'm just one person. And Caleb, I know you've probably thought the same thing too. And that's why me and Caleb here have created this podcast. We want these topics to actually be put out there, to be talked about. And it's hard to talk about these. We've put so much forth, and I think all of us on Earth can say this. We're putting so much forth that we're forgetting who we are. And I want people to think, especially when I'm gone, because my YouTube channel will be up forever when I'm gone. I want people to look at it and think that someone was able to do something. That someone was able to look back at everything and talk about the emotions and talk about the true meaning behind it all. And in reality, that's all we're able to do. And the sad thing is, I've gone through life thinking everything. I've gone through life thinking about how we can change. I've gone through it all thinking, what if I could do something? And that was the main reason I started to stream. Because I stream, make videos. I looked at YouTubers like Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, Guava Juice, all these YouTubers, gaming YouTubers, non-gaming YouTubers, and I've noticed that they're trying to make a difference. That they're trying to come up with things that can happen in our lives and help us, even if they don't realize it, even if we're not wanting them to help, that they're still helping. And I would really suggest you guys go and look into all this and understand what we've all been through. And I'm not saying just to look at what me and Caleb here have been through. Look at everyone in the world. There are some celebrities out there that has gone through depression. There are some celebrities out there that feel like they can't do much of anything because they don't know how to feel. And again, that's so sad to see is that people are tearing another down. And I know I keep repeating myself, but in order to get this point across, I have to. And in times like this, where we still have COVID, where we still have people not giving a shit about someone else, is hard. And I truly hate it. I genuinely want people to feel loved in life. I genuinely want people to understand that you can do it. And I know that sounds just like Nike's slogan, but to just do it is the best advice I have ever gotten. It may sound cliche, but it is. It is the best advice I've ever gotten. To just do it. Put yourself out there. Give yourself a means to keep going forward. Give yourself that ability to just push forward and push through it. And if you don't, where is that going to take you? I've I think I've outstayed my spotlight privileges here. Caleb, you have anything to add? And I do too. And we always will be. And even if these my streams, these podcasts stop coming out, or if these my streams stop coming out, or if Caleb starts streaming and they stop, we're always still gonna be here, even in spirit. And I want each and every one of you guys, if you're watching this as a video or if you're listening to it while you're doing something, you can do so much. We all believe in you. The people that are in my videos every day, the people that are in my streams every day, me and Caleb here, we all believe in you all. Even the new members of this community, we all are caring for each other. And I want that to be what my YouTube community, you guys in chat, you guys who are subscribed, I want you guys to be a community and band together to help each other. And if you ever need anyone to talk to, like if you're feeling a certain way and you just need someone to talk to, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on Snapchat. The links are down in the description below. And go ahead. And if any of you have ever actually looked at the bottom of my description, I have always had this line, and I will read it word for word. I really love you all. You all are amazing. I have said that. I have kept that in the bottom of my description for God knows how long actually, because I truly want you chat to actually feel good. I want chat here to actually feel like you guys aren't just out here to do something. I want you guys to feel love. And that's where my whole purpose for everything comes in. I've felt so much in a way where I was down, and watching YouTube and talking to people just online helped. It may not help for any of you out there, but it can. You just gotta find the right people to talk to. Conventions. I'll be here too to do that. I want to go to these conventions so I can help you guys with things. I'm planning on actually. I was actually planning on trying to go to TwitchCon coming up, but knowing that there's so many people, I've so many people that cared that I was needed elsewhere. And those people that cared, granted, they probably don't need as much help as someone else, but they're the people that ended up showing me who I am. And I can't thank them enough, and I can't thank you guys enough for helping me see who I am. And even with just 2 episodes up on this podcast, we're planning on going for as long as we can. Because these topics need to be said. These topics need to be talked about. These topics need to be shown in some way, shape, or form. And it gets harder every day when we can't put that out there. And I feel awful that we can't put enough out there for you guys. I know it's been a couple weeks since our last podcast, so we're gonna make this one a bit of a longer one. Not really. Not about this topic, no. Oh, yeah, no. But with all that being said, we're gonna move on to the next topic, which is gonna be about what should we talk about now. Here we go. Going off of the last topic, we should talk about how family about our family. Now, this I like I said earlier, is that I grew up without a father for the first 5 years. I grew up with just my mom and my grandpa and my grandma and everyone for the first 5 years of my life. And that was hard, but I learned to persevere, and it made me who I am. And seeing who I am today makes me look back and I think, what could I have done to be different? But to be honest, I don't think anything that I would have done would have turned me out any different than who I am. And the sad truth about that is that, as we were saying in the last topic, is that you don't get to choose who you are. You don't get to choose anything. Because if we all were able to choose, we would choose the perfect versions of ourselves. But those perfect versions that we think we are, or think we want to be, would actually hurt us. I feel like I'm going back into the old topic. I think we both, me and Caleb here, have put forth a lot. And with the help of Jordan today to get her input, it kind of opened my eyes up a tiny bit more. Which is why I feel like we're gonna start getting people. Me and Caleb will have other people in every so often to break it up a little bit, and we have a bit more of a way more of a serious topic. And with that, I think that's gonna be it. And as always, these podcasts are actually sponsored by W.GG. Go to the link in the description, use code WatcherXE2 for at checkout for 10% off your next order. And with that, me and Caleb will see you in the next podcast. See you guys then.